Hi everyone, welcome to YesIam Podcast. My name is Arman. I'm your host tonight. Make sure to follow our Instagram at YIA_YesIam. We are so excited to start this episode, but before we get there, I want to tell you all about YesIam a little bit more. YesIam, founded in 2019 with a mission to build a generation of extraordinary leaders and discomfort seekers. We create a community for OSU students to find their why and step out of their comfort zone. At Yes I Am, our why wakes us up every morning to seek discomfort. We wake up confident and inspired to work hard. We love what we do. We fail, we learn. We fail again, and we keep learning. We go to bed at night knowing that today was better than yesterday, and tomorrow will be a brand new day. There is nothing we can do or be because our why is stronger than any challenge. We are positive thinkers, we are givers, and we are grateful. Yes, I am is our lifestyle, and we are Yes, I am. Again, everyone, welcome to Yes, I am podcast. So happy that you're listening to us. If you have not followed our Instagram, please do. We have great posts and stories there for you, so we can all follow. We try to create the vibe of our Instagram the way that when you all just go to our Instagram, feel happier, feel better, and feel inspired. Um, Now let's start talking about today's topic, which is first thing first. Begin with the first thing first, and today's panelist is Paul Matipwiri, uh, the co-founder of TAT Matipwiri Enterprise, an OSU student, an entrepreneur, and he's also an officer for our organization. He's the director of public relations. And we're really happy to have you tonight with us, Paul. How are you doing, man?
Oh man, I've never heard a better intro before. Gosh. Yeah. Oh man, I'm doing fantastic, man. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. We usually start by asking our panelists to a little bit talk about yourself, who you are, and why you do what you're doing, and what is your why. Why do you get up every morning?
Man, that's a tough one right there, man. It's a whole lot of questions in one question. So let me start. The first question was who I am, right? So
Yes.
my name is Paul, and I am from South Africa. I think a lot of people don't know that, but I actually am from South Africa, and I'm a third year here at Oregon State. Not third year, I'm a fourth year, but I'm just gonna consider myself a third year because I still have one more year. So yeah. Um, Really, another one thing about me is that I started real estate. I started real estate. That was about last year, and that was 2020. And the main reason why I started that, really, and the main reason why I wake up every single day, was the only reason why I started it at the very, very, very start, was because I wanted to buy a Benz, and I'm pretty sure you know that too. I got
Of course, of
really
course.
I got really obsessed with trying to buy a Benz, and I loved it so much. That was the first thing I would think about every single morning, and that was the last thing I would think about every single night right before I go to bed. And man, I was just super obsessed with it, and I was like, gosh, I just needed to find money to get a Benz. I mean, a Benz is not cheap. You're talking minimum of 30K for a pre-owned Benz, and I'm going, man, like, I got to find a way ASAP. And I was just kind of looking for different routes of how I could possibly get it. And then I started real estate. So that was, I haven't gotten it yet, so I'm still on the path, but still making progress, working hard every single day. And that's the main reason why I wake up each and every single day. And slowly transition from really wanting the Benz to kind of wanting to grow more. When you start getting yourself out there, your mind starts to, you start to grow, and that feeling of growth is just very addictive. And once you get here, you want to get there. Once you get there, you want to get there, you want to get there. So mentality actually shifted from trying to buy a car to actually and constantly seeking personal growth. So that's the main reason why I wake up each and every single day, Armand.
You know what I heard today from John Maxwell. He said you need two things to succeed. I feel like I'm gonna rephrase it, but basically, number one, passion, and number two, commitment. Commitment is also very important, as you said. Getting what you want, it takes time. But your passion and your commitment keep you up working every day. You, and a lot of people that like set a goal for themselves and they start like giving up is because they were not passionate enough or they were not committed enough to keep going till you get there. Um, Talking a little bit about that, Yes I Am was a club that's the organization that started in 2019,
Yeah.
and ever since, I mean, you were in the journey, and this is something I'm very passionate about as a founder of Yes I Am. And back when I think about back in days in 2019, Yes I Am was not like popular, or there are not that many people knowing Yes I Am. But when I think
Zero.
about it, when I think about it these days, you look at what Yes I Am is doing. These days, every day when I think about, I feel like, okay, it worth all these 1 year hustle, 1 year and a half hustle, because I'm getting my reward right now, and we are not done. We are not done. As I say, Yes I Am is not just a normal organization, but is an extraordinary organization.
That's
Our,
right.
one of our goals is to get better every single day. We just got to keep coming with new ideas to how to improve ourselves. Um, Starting to a little bit talk about begin with the first thing in mind. When we want to talk about that, we want to start thinking about what is our mission, what we want to achieve. So you start your mission was to buy that Benz Mercedes. You know, but let's go back there. Let's go back there when you set that goal. Okay.
Woohoo!
And what was the first thing that you figure out you gotta do first to get where you want to go, where we want to get?
The very first, that's actually a really good question. I've never been asked that question before. The very first thing that I figured I really have to do first, the first thing that came to my mind was like I have to get the money first, right? I had to get the money, of course, because if I'm going to buy a Benz, I wanted to buy it cash. So the very first thing I had to think about first was, gosh, I got to get the money, all right? And then right after that came, okay, why do I really want the Benz? And I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm fine with I could buy a Corolla, I could buy this, I'm fine with that. But the real reason why I really wanted it was that's just gonna fit into my ego so much. It's just gonna fit into, clout. It's just gonna, all of that stuff, And I got really obsessed with that. So that was the truest sense of, okay, why was exactly the reason what that came after I had to get the money. So really the first thing I was thinking about is, why do I really want the Benz? And then I started thinking about how I could possibly get the Benz, and then that's when I started thinking about ways of how I could possibly do it, and at first it started up interior design, and I was like, about the whole interior design thing, I just started out, joined a couple interior design platforms, because I thought, I was looking at it and just design one thing, it's like close to 3 to 7K for, good design, and then, stuff like that. So I was just kind of looking into different options as my how per se of how I could possibly get that money to pay cash for a Benz. So the very first thing that I actually started thinking about was really, why do I really want the Benz so bad? And that was actually what created that whole obsession with a Benz. And then I started diving deep into, okay, what routes can I take to make that money so that I could possibly pay cash for a Benz? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does. You you touched base on a topic that I think is worth talking more. I don't think we necessarily will talk about it today, but the concept of first you figure out why do you want that Benz,
Mm.
and then you try to find out how you can get there. And then what you want is the Benz. Basically why, how, what, and so let's talk more about the journey. Um, so you said you start thinking about maybe interior design will be the path, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, right now what you're doing is real estate,
Yep.
right? So it's I feel like maybe some people will say, okay, then why didn't you have the commitment to make the interior design work and you just move to a different direction as real estate? What do you want to say to that?
Yeah, what I'm going to say to that is exactly what I heard from an individual named Anthony Robbins. He goes by the name Tony Robbins. And his thing of, that whole achieving success whatsoever thing was essentially, okay, you got to find something that you really want. You got to be obsessed with it. All right. And then the second thing he said is massive action. So in massive action, he didn't necessarily say stick to one thing and just do it until, I mean, if I stuck to interior design, gosh, I mean, it probably would have taken me about a year or two, but I still would have achieved success. And for me, it was more of a short-term thing. I really needed money. I needed money ASAP. And so I started interior design. And then whilst I was in there, I was like, gosh, this is going to take so much time. It just doesn't look like one thing that I'll probably, it would take me ages to make even the first check. So when I got into that, and it was just a lot more battles that I would possibly have to fight in order to even get that one little tiny check, compared to real estate where it looked a little more flexible. I was more familiar with it, and it had skills that I thought that I had, I thought that qualified for me. So my take to that is, okay, you have to have massive action, right? And you you could have there is so many paths to get to that same thing. The question is, you could choose either path. If one path could work for you, if you feel one path doesn't work for you, you could always switch to the next, right? The question is, are you solid and stable enough to stick to one path out of maybe the five or six paths leading to that same thing? Because there's one thing is just maneuvering about the different paths and not even doing 10% of any. Or you could do 10% of one, then you go to another, and then you say, 20% is not working out. And then you find another one, and then you say, boom, I've fallen in love with it. And then you just go. So interior design, I just did it because I thought I kind of liked it, but it wasn't really my favorite. But then real estate was that option where I thought, okay, it's also another option to get the same thing. I like it better. I think I would have more time enjoying better and weighing out my options and the things that I could learn and the amount of growth that's part of that. I thought, gosh, this would just be able to grow me so much as a person. And I chose this path, and it seemed to be the more profitable path for me. So really, that's what I could say on that. There's many ways of achieving the same thing. It's not a sin to just bounce between different things. The thing is, as you bounce to that, try to weigh out which one fits you best. And when you get to that one, stick to that and just go ahead.
That's very
Yeah.
important, because you didn't change your why, you changed your how, and that's totally fine. Like you
Yeah,
still want the Mercedes, the Benz,
yeah,
and
that's right.
you know why you want it, but you realize interior design won't be the right path for it, and it necessarily doesn't fit your skills,
Yeah,
and that's totally fine. And when I think about it, people, when you want to reach a specific goal, you gotta think about what capabilities you have and
that,
how can you get there, you know and Patrick Bet David has this book called Your Next Five Moves. Okay.
mhm,
And I think the book is very interesting. It says, what are your next five moves? Because if you don't have a
mhm,
next five moves, what you're going to you're going to do next, uh, you basically, after you accomplish, you're gonna be kind of anxious. Okay, now what?
yeah,
Because at some point you're gonna get the bends, right?
that's right.
Okay, but you probably are thinking, okay, after I got my band, what's that next mission that I have, And then when you think about that mission, you got to think about, okay, right now I'm thinking about bands, but what skills can I start gaining from now on that can set me and get me ready for when I get the band and I want to go to next mission, right?
That's
So I want to ask you this. Uh, what are those I'm really interested to know.
mhm.
What are those skills that you've been learning and you've been gaining over this journey of Mercedes Benz? E
God,
class or C class? Tell me that. Tell me that.
oh, no, no, it changed, man. It's no longer C class, man. Gosh, it's an E class now, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many skills, man. There's just too many skills. I just gotta start by saying that, like during the journey of trying to achieve it, there's been many things that I kind of had to sacrifice, in order to, you know, fit my schedule more and grow myself more to put myself into a position where I could be able to get myself the Benz. Um, I'm a big party person, and I still am. It's still deep down in my blood. I was like, and I'll always make time for parties. Always 100%. I love the social life, but I kind of just had to squeeze it to the side a little bit. Because I figured that one way or another is kind of interfering with whatever I had going on. I was big on Snapchat. I love Snapchat so much. The same thing on Instagram. I was spending pretty much a lot of my time over there. And, but then, and I had so many friends on it. I just cut it off completely. Literally, you check my phone now. I don't even have Snapchat or Instagram. So I'm just going to start by saying that I kind of had to make this sacrifice. And, when you want to, I mean, in order to open one door, you got to close a couple doors. In order to open one door, sometimes you have to close a couple doors, and that's just part of life. In order to get into the bathroom, I mean, once you get in there, you got to close the bathroom door unless you want to take a shower. And, and obviously, not I'm not gonna do that in this house. I'm not gonna
But
do
I don't
that.
know where did that example come from, but okay.
Yeah, the same thing is going if you want to if you want to do some work in the restroom, you got to close the door. So for every opportunity, you got to close one door. It's just a matter of which door. So I just kind of want to start by saying I had to make that sacrifice, right? But
Mhm.
then for the things that I learned in the processes, I learned I learned about your physical appearance. There was a time when, I started, my real estate is, it's more like an agent. I'm about to get a license and, working with developers that work on properties in Corvallis. And I got a chance to meet a lot of multimillionaires around town and people who do big investments around town. And I'm able to walk around Corvallis and just point out, I know the owner of this property. I know where they live. I know have their phone number and all this stuff. And I really learned how to present yourself. That's the first thing that I can say I learned. One time I was in a conversation with an individual, and we were trying to sell him a property, and then he goes, Paul, I don't know if I could work with you. I say, wait, what do you mean? He said, you know, just doesn't look right. And I remember that time I was wearing my shorts. I remember those outfits. I was wearing these one shorts. I was wearing these one shorts. I had a white shirt on. I had Vans on the bottom, and I had a nice. To me, this was a great outfit. I had a nice little, the denim jacket that has some fur.
I know you were vibing.
Yeah, and it was my greatest, and I love that outfit so much.
Yeah.
And I was talking, and I said that I was like, gosh. And that time I had my fancy, nice
Oh,
haircuts and
I
everything.
remember that.
Oh yes, and you've gone on walks with me too, looking at properties, and man, like that was such an eye-opening experience. Ever since that happened to me, I really learned that the way you present yourself speaks so much for you. Like even right before you open your mouth, people can judge you just based off of the way you present yourself. So that's when I started, dressing up in suits every day and all this stuff. And I know a lot of college students when I'm walking around campus go, man, what the heck is this guy doing wearing a suit? But it's fine. I do it for my job. So, that was the very first thing I learned, how to present myself. That it's very, very important for you to present yourself because it really affects what people think about you. And some people will go, well, it doesn't really matter what people think about me. What matters is the way I think about myself. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to work with someone. And that someone will work with you best if they have a good perception of you. You know, it's the thing is, it's you're thinking about yourself, and not only that, but when you start, presenting yourself more, you start to feel better about yourself, and people also start to feel better about you. Therefore, they want to work with you more. That's the first thing I could say I learned, and the second thing is I really learned the sense of time. you know, when you don't really have much that you're working towards, 24 hours is a lot. Gosh, sometimes it feels like it's so much time.
right?
But
24 hours is just so much. And then I sometimes get surprised that people like say, I don't have enough time today. I'm like, what have you been doing? They keep telling me, I'm like, okay, all you just said can be done in like a couple hours, you know?
that's
What are
right,
you doing for the rest of your time? You know?
definitely. Bingo, you just hit the nail on the head. Gosh, time is so important and people don't realize it. And when you have something that you're working towards, the day starts going faster, you know? And now when that starts to happen, you start to go, man, 8 hours in a day is not enough. I need to squeeze in a couple more hours, And then you go, okay, I got to extend one more hour. I got to do this. And then you start to go, okay, God, by the time it's 6, I'm already tired. I'm not going to overwork my body. So I got to start waking up a lot earlier. Now that's when you start to find these people making these statements going, okay, man, I wake up 4 a.m. and that is impossible. No, it's true. Because when they wake up at that time, they have more time in their day to work on things that they think are going to take them a step further to achieving what they want. And it's in that moment when you realize, okay, God, I got to schedule my time. I got to do this. I got to make a to-do list. I got to do all of that stuff because you want to make sure that by the time you finish with your day, you finish everything. And you start to become more firm with your time and going, okay, if somebody distracts me and I fall into distractions, that's going to take me a step backwards from achieving what I want. So,
there
mhm,
is there is this one thing. I think I've been saying it in last episodes as well too.
yeah.
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said, I when I was playing basketball and trying to get to NBA, and when I was in the NBA, he said he did not have any time for anything that was not related to get better in basketball.
Oh man, you said it so well.
And okay, and it was Kobe Bryant. Kobe
Yeah,
Bryant, like one of the best basketball players ever,
that's right.
you know. And it's not just him. Think about all these people that are like, a lot of people have business,
Mm-hmm.
but not a lot of them are set examples, and not a lot of them are like we know. I think those people that like succeed in their field are the people that have that why. First of all, I think they definitely have the why. They know why they're doing what they're doing, and I
Mm-hmm.
think there was this concept also talked before too about your subconscious. You know,
Mm.
whatever you put in your subconscious brain helps you to make decisions. So wherever
Mm.
we are right now,
Yeah,
like we make decisions like that right now. Okay, it's
yeah.
pretty quick. The decisions we make is pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that we made the decision to go this path or than the other path is because of all of the programming that we've been going to our subconscious brain ever since that we've been born. And
Mm.
older we get, it keeps getting harder and harder and harder to change our subconscious brain. The
Wow.
way to change it is by repetition. Keep
Mm.
repeating. I think you're definitely very good at this. Waking up at 4 a.m. is not easy. It's not easy if you're not used to it. But
Mm-hmm.
the great thing about human is that we're adaptable. We can change our behavior. And
Yeah.
think about the whole COVID and Corona. When it happened, we all freaked out. We were like, we all gonna get depressed. We're gonna turn to fossils in our house. But look at it. Like right now, it's a new norm. It's
Yeah.
a it's a new norm. And we look at us. Like look at you. You made a lot of success during this COVID time. You figured out how to do it. You know. So as you said at the beginning, the mission always stays the same, but how you do it keeps changing. You
That's
know,
right.
depends on the circumstances.
That's right. Man, you just said it so well. I don't even feel like I have anything else to say, but but I do have one more thing to say.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
think
sure.
this is like that's like I would say maybe the last biggest thing I learned, but obviously not the last, but the one
Yeah,
that I could remember. It's courage.
yeah.
Courage and being brave. Man, my job is so scary and people don't even know this. Like, do you know how hard it is to call somebody and ask them to sell their home? Gosh, and these guys and you don't even know what response is going to come. When you're doing a mathematical calculation, at least you know what the answer is going to be. And 2 + 2 is obviously going to be 4. Nothing to be worried about. But this time, like when you're doing 2 + 2 in my field, the answer could be 2, could be 3, could be 4, could be 5, could be 6. And gosh, it makes you so nervous. And people say all sorts of stuff, and it scares the heck out of you. I've had a person scream at me over the phone. I said, "Hey, I was saying, would you be able to sell a house?" I said, get out of my face. And just cut the call. And I was traumatized after that. But, you know, one thing I learned is courage and being brave. And people have, I think the definition of this is pretty complex to some people, but it's very simple. Courage is not necessarily having no fear. And that's what people think. They think that when you're courageous, when you're brave, you have no fear. Gosh, it's like I want to be like King David, whatsoever. Courageous, I have no fear. You just do it. No, being courageous and being brave is actually being scared of shit. And you're so scared, you're scared to death, but you still do it anyway. And that is the whole sense of growth, I think, because when you're growing, you become so uncomfortable, and there's so many things that make you so uncomfortable and all that. I mean in a good way. Well, obviously not like the other type
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
you know there's so many things that make you uncomfortable, but you know that once you overcome them, you're going to grow, and they scare the crap out of you as a person.
They do.
uh, but you have to be courageous. What that means is you're still afraid, but you still walk through. You see the fire and you're afraid and you're scared to death of it, but you say, you know what, I'm just going to walk through it. So that is the whole essence of it. And then what's crazy is you realize that once you get to the other side, the fire wasn't even hot. It just looked scary. You
And
know?
then, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say.
And I just want to say, like, and then when you keep going, you see, like, oh, there are other fires that are waiting for me. That's way, way, way heater and the one I just experienced. But
Yeah,
what I experienced gonna help me to get through the other fire as well too,
definitely. Gosh.
right?
Yeah.
I think you're one of those people that feel this a lot. Feel this a lot.
Uh,
That
too much,
failure
man.
failure, you definitely failed for your journey, It was
Mhm.
not like anytime you just call someone, they all say yes, You definitely experience failure. And I think you're the one of those people that understand what I'm going to say very clearly,
Mhm.
that failure is definitely part of the journey,
That's
but
right.
it's very important to interpret failure in a right way.
Mhm.
Why do we fail? We fail because, again, quote from Steve Harvey: there's a blessing and there's a lesson in failure.
That's right.
There's always a blessing and there's a lesson in failure. There's
Mhm.
a we something may would have happened if you didn't fail, and now we learned something that it happened.
Definitely. Yeah.
You're think about us. We are a generation of people. We are the only generation, actually, I think, that we have experienced such a thing as COVID that caused us to stay at home or not do specific activities.
Mhm.
And this is an experience. We learned a lot from this. We learned a lot. We I think in a personal level, it helped me to be more creative. To figure out the new ways to do my job. To figure out the new ways to still grind and succeed.
Mhm.
Right. So I love to say this. I think I'm building my future based on this statement. The life has ups and downs. The
That's
life
right.
has ups and downs. Anytime that we go down, this is a challenge. This is a time that we failed.
Mhm.
But if we get up and take the blessing and the lesson, we're gonna go high.
Oh
But
yeah.
next time we're gonna go lower than the last challenge because the challenge is harder.
Mhm.
Again, if we take the lesson and the blessing, we're gonna go higher than the last time.
That's
So
right.
the chart is like goes down, up, downer, higher, and that's the way. That's what separates happier person, happy people,
Mhm.
successful people than people that I don't know how to say this, but like that's what helps people to succeed.
That's right.
People that when they go down, they don't choose the game over bottom. They
Mm.
choose they take the blessing and the lesson, and they go up for a bigger price.
Oh, that's right. You know, I'm just gonna give an example too. This is like a little personal example. Speaking of that whole failure thing, gosh, so you know, this is back in Africa, right? So
Yeah.
like we had just finished, you know, we just finished high school, and you know, it was during a gap year, and then we had to go to this one, you know, conference where they're gonna tell us about, you know, school stuff and all of this stuff, right? You know, going to colleges, which colleges available, where to apply, how to apply, and all this stuff. And you know, I went there, and there's just a whole lot of high school graduates that went there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just, you know, it was good. It was a great time, and I'm there with my best friend Christian and a couple other friends of mine. And then, man, like, so Christian sees this. So I see this, you know, one girl, and that was back when I was younger. And
Yeah.
God, man, this girl, she's got to be it. Man, I got to get her number somehow, somewhere. And apparently, she's not really a tough girl to approach, as many people have said. But God, I was beaten.
Yeah.
Girls don't know this, but God, it's one of the toughest decisions men ever make in their lives to approach a girl.
Talk
Man,
about it,
man, that was real tough. And then, man, Christian kept telling me, he's like, man, I'll push you, man. Just go say hi to her, man. Just say
Yeah.
hi to her. I'm like, I mean, I was scared. I was scared to death, right? I was scared to death. And man, and then one of my friends who was in the same group, his name was Warren, you know, and Warren was also kind of feeling the same girl, you know. And
Oh
then
my.
yeah, and then and I go, you know what? Warren, just go shoot your shot with it, you know. And then Warren is scared to death, but then you know he's like, you know what? I'm just, and then he says one really important thing. I mean, she says no, she says no, right? So he goes, and then we're watching, like we're keenly, like seriously watching him as he walks there. My heart is
Yeah.
beating crazy because that could have been my girl. And then he walks there and says hi to the girl. And then I see him, you know, we couldn't hear his conversation, but then I can see him moving his hands. And then he says a couple of
Smiling.
words,
Yeah.
but then she laughs a little bit.
A few
Man.
bucks.
And then he takes his phone out, and then, you know, she types her phone in his number. And then he comes back, and then he's out here celebrating and jumping. And then I sat down to myself and I was going, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
Like this guy just got the girl that I thought I was gonna get, you know? And this guy was way, like, I'm not saying I'm good looking, but this guy was something else, you know? Like he was not even in the category of people that you can consider good looking. And
Yo,
that
yo,
really
we're
hurt me.
not. Yo, we're
Hmm?
not cute. We're
Man,
not
man.
supposed to be cute.
Yeah, that really hurt me so bad, but it taught me one lesson, you
Yeah.
know? Fear is really just and it's fear of failure. Fear of failure is really just, what can I say, it's just failure of something that doesn't like it does not I don't know the best way to say this, but it actually does not exist. You know,
Yeah.
our brain is convinced ourselves of a situation that doesn't exist, and we're so stuck up on that situation, and we're afraid to experience the other side of the story. So our brain is telling us this side of the story, that you're going to go and she's going to say no and this is going to happen, and then blah blah blah, your life is going to be ruined, so you're scared of that. And it clouds your mind so hard that you're afraid, you don't even look at the other side of the story,
Mhm.
which is just go do it anyway. If you fail, you fail. And
For
what
sure.
actually happens is, when you get a no, or when things don't work out, you actually feel good. You know, it doesn't really hurt you that much. You know, it hurts you for a couple seconds, but after that, you feel good. You go, wow, I did that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what people should really try to experience, you
You
know? They
know
shouldn't
that
really be afraid of it as much.
I want to relate the topic to what you just said. Begin with the first thing in mind. First thing first. So the problem is, uh, we start thinking. Like in the example you just said, we
Yeah.
start thinking about all the things that can go wrong if you make the approach. But the
Oh,
first
yeah.
thing first, the first thing is to approach, not
Mm-hmm.
think about what can go wrong if you approach. So begin with the first thing first, and then see what's gonna happen.
Oh God, man, that's
Right?
such a good way to put. I've never even met. You know what? I just learned that. I just learned that from you. Yeah, I just learned that from you, man. That's such a
um,
guy to take notes.
so, Paul,
Hmm.
to just wrap this up, I
Okay.
want to ask, you this one last question.
That's right.
I want to make it as a tradition to ask this question to every single person that we will do the interview, not the interview, the podcast.
Yeah.
What in probably a minute, what is the biggest lesson that you learned in your life from the day one till now that you think people that are watching this, if when they hear it, it's gonna help them too? Take your time.
This one um, was I think it was taught for me by my dad. My dad, I consider my dad my role model,
Yeah.
and actually there's two, but I'm just gonna say one because you asked me for one. Um, One thing that he always told me was every idea works. Any idea works. Any idea works. That is literally it. He said, whatever idea you have, no matter how crazy, no matter how small, no matter whatever it is, it works. You just need to engineer it to make it work. But every idea works. There is not any idea out there that cannot never work. I mean, like there's so many things we see out there and it's crazy. I mean, look at Amazon. It started with selling books online, and the craziest things turn out to be the most profitable sometimes, and also the most logical things also turn out to be the most profitable. Walmart is the most logical of things, and it turned out to be so profitable. But one of the craziest things, this guy Elon Musk is making electric cars. He's making roofs out of solar panels, and whatever idea you have out there works. You just need to make it work. That's the biggest thing that
That
I could possibly say. And my dad always told me that many times. And, you know, no matter how interesting it is, it still has a possibility of working. When you stop, like, approaching it and trying to make it work, that's when the possibility goes out. So there's several ideas, like, I mean, based off of situation, right? There's some ideas that work best in 2020, and that work best in this generation. Some wouldn't work, but based off of course, environment and all this stuff, they all have a proportion to. Let's say this 100% is going to work. This one 50% it could work, and this one 0.01% it could work. So there is still that little percentage and probability that it could work, right? And as long as you continue on it, the probability would start to increase. But and that means that everything has a probability of success and probability of it working. So whether it's academically, whether it's whatever, but as long as you stop, then the probability of it stops working. So that's basically what I could say. Any idea works.
any idea works as till you decide that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. Any idea works until you decide it's not going to work. Yes.
That's such a great lesson that you just talked about. An idea starts in your mind, but and your vision and your dream, and you are responsible of every single idea that you have to give it life.
Hmm.
To give it life. If you don't, then you cannot blame anyone for not making that happen, because
That's
you are the one that only knows about that idea, no one else, and that you're the only one that can make it happen,
that's right.
right?
Yep.
um yes, I am is an organization that wants to inspire everyone, to inspire every single person, to keep this in mind, that having a strong why, having why you get up every single up, is the most important decision that you make. Making a decision about why you want to get up in the morning is very important. Because if you know why you want to get up in the morning, you don't snooze your alarm. You just get up. And that's the most important thing you got to keep in mind. Why you should get up every single morning. If you do this, you won't face anxiety and depression, because depression happens I'm not a psychologist or therapist, but in my opinion, it's all my personal opinion. Depression happens when you fail and you feel like game over, or you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you know. And Yes I Am is here to inspire you and help you to remember, Paul, every single person, Armand, is not ordinary, is an extraordinary person. But we gotta choose to be extraordinary. It's not something it's not a title that people just give us. It's a title that we gotta earn. And that's the end of this episode. I want to wish you all such a great day. And as always, yes, I am.
Woohoo! Yes, I am.